Welcome. This is Trevecca Value Added. I am Paul Winkler, the host, where we talk about some things going on at Trevecca Nazarene University and how it affects the community, how can it affect your life, and some of the opportunities that it creates for people living in the Nashville community. And with me today, Troy Munn, the new kid in town at Trevecca.
And a whopping 9 to 10 months, yes.
Yeah, how did you end up here? How did you end up in this particular position? Because you're really well suited for it, and I want people to hear your story and how the evolution took place.
You're kind, thank you. I really quick story. When I was doing my undergrad, I was a business major, and I was really interested in a career that would get into customer or consumer psychology or behaviors or whatever, market research. I was really interested in why the Tide detergent box is red and yellow instead of blue and green.
Sure.
The retail, where the things are on the...
So you're just naturally curious.
Yeah, I was just really curious.
Yeah, that's cool.
And wanting to do maybe predictive things and things based on human behavior. Graduated with my business degree, and the things that I was looking to get into, those opportunities were just not presenting themselves. And a vice president at my alma mater offered me a job. It was an entry-level job in the industry. And he said, I think you've got what it takes to do this thing called institutional advancement or development. I took the job. I didn't even know what the word development meant. And I really thought, well, I will do this for a year or so.
Yeah, it was a little while until I get a real thing
job.
going on.
And after a couple months on the job, Paul, that proverbial light bulb went on. And I realized that I was already doing what I wanted to do from college. I had just never thought about doing it in the nonprofit realm. So working with people, their passions, their charitable interests, and facilitating that into organizational mission, something that meets the needs of the organization, but also meets the philanthropic passions of the donor. And
which is what it grows as you get older. That whole idea, as Erickson said, it's generativity versus stagnation. The second to last stage of life, you're going to be going into that period of time where you're going, did I do what I came here to do? It's time to give back. And the beauty of it is giving back is so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like some of these really, really wealthy people. You watch those stories of the old people that built the railroads and all of that, and how giving it away was that really fun part of their life.
One of the most rewarding parts of my work is when you think of it from like a sales perspective, everybody likes to close the deal, right? We like it when donors say yes to an ask for $1 million or whatever. And while that's all very rewarding, for me, I've been doing this long enough that one of the most rewarding things that I encounter, even more than someone saying yes to giving money to the organization, is taking their philanthropic resources, doing with it what we said we would do and what they are trusting us to do, and then at some point coming back, whether it's with a faculty member or students or whatever, and showing that ROI. And the fact that gives that donor the opportunity to hopefully think for themselves, wow, I am really glad I invested in this, and I may want to even invest more.
And you're even around to see the results of things.
Absolutely.
Whereas so often people just wait and wait and wait and wait, and then, obviously it's too late at that point in time. You don't get to see the results. Now, we're coming up 125 years. You were around for the 100-year mark for Trevecca, weren't you somehow?
Old. This is my second time employed at Trevecca.
I
was also I was not in this position, but I was on the same advancement team at the time, and we were celebrating the century here, and we were in a major campaign at that time called the Celebrating the Century campaign.
Okay,
I was a lot younger at the time, so it really does seem really odd and yet rewarding for me to be back here now for 125. But yes, Trevecca is celebrating 125 years of not just existing as a college, but in celebrating that marriage, if you will, with the Nashville community.
Well, and you have the Wall Street Journal has the university as one of the top universities in the country, top Christian university status. There's a lot to celebrate.
Yeah.
125 years. So there's a lot of really cool things going. So how exactly are they going to go about celebrating?
Well, it's interesting that the timing of this discussion, this past week, after months of preparations, we are actually publicly launching our year-long celebration. And we've got so many components of our constituency. So we're identifying some ways to celebrate with our churches of the Nazarene that support us. Certainly our on-campus community with our faculty, staff, and students, our alumni, our donors. And one of the things that we've done this past week is we've formally kicked off our year-long celebration with our annual President's Dinner. That's one of the bookends for the celebration. Students are getting ready to come back to campus. We're going to have a big block party in a couple of weeks to celebrate Trevecca. The first weekend of November every year is our annual homecoming. And so with having a lot of members of our board and our alumni and our donors back on campus celebrating with our students, we're going to be folding into every element that we celebrate here. Some of the things that might be more interesting for the Nashville community, our official birthday is November 5th. And that evening, the Metro Nashville is going to be illuminating the Korean Veterans Memorial Bridge in Trevecca purple and white.
Nice.
So we're really excited about that. And also in November, we've been working with Metro Council, and they will be declaring a proclamation for Trevecca, recognizing it and its wonderful relationship to this Nashville community. We're going to be taking things on the road to our churches. We've got our big Church of the Nazarene General Assembly at the end of the year, where we're actually taking this to Kansas City to celebrate. That will actually be the final bookend for the year-long celebration. But lots of things with preparing alumni stories, oral histories, archival kinds of things to celebrate. And then probably the last thing I would say about it is, as wonderful as it is to celebrate the past and to see where we have come to today, is really using this as an opportunity to launch strategically into the future. So we're doing some special things with fundraising. We're going to be reaching out to young alumni, trying to get gifts of $125 and trying to find 100 first-time alumni donors and things like that. We're also going to be in a presidential transition. I know you're aware of that.
Right, for sure.
And so in the middle of all this, not only is President Boone starting to wrap up his tenure here leading the institution after 21 years, this fall, also in the month of November, we likely will be electing Trevecca's next president. And so...
And it's a period. It's a great change going on right now, simply because
really dynamic.
You have in the university system in general, you have limited space. You have to keep costs down. The university is changing a lot to more online is becoming a thing. I mean, that wasn't something that you could ever do in the past, but that's become a real economical way of getting education and keeping costs down for people. I've been blown away by the level of giving by the donating public towards scholarships and the types of opportunities that are here at the university for that. I've had people that I've worked with and talked to, and they're like, I'm thinking about going back to school, and I'm always saying, check out Trevecca. You'd be amazed at the level of donating that takes place there that helps with those types of scholarships and makes that possible for people to get education a whole lot more economically. Because that's the big complaint right now, isn't it? Is people are spending so much money, they're getting into so much debt over education, and they can't possibly make it back, when that's not necessarily the case every place. So I think that's a big part of what you're doing. And you had background in healthcare as well, which is a huge area. I think it was the number one area of job opportunity in the nation right now. And that's a big area for Trevecca that is an area that they have been really leading the way in. Any comments about that?
Yeah, most people, especially if you live here in Middle Tennessee or are familiar with Nashville, Nashville really is the hub of healthcare in the United States.
Yeah.
And with that, we're so blessed, which means we have great access to great healthcare here.
Sure.
But it creates all kinds of career opportunities and also an opportunity for Trevecca to really be a feeder into healthcare. So we need things like physician assistants. We are now in our third year of a nursing program. There's a significant shortage nationwide for nurses. We are in the process of starting a new physical therapy program in the next couple of years.
It's like healthcare is like 1/5 of the nation's GDP, which blows my mind what the opportunities are for people out there going, hey, what do I do? I want to change careers. I want to get into something that's going to be meaningful. I want to do, what do I have my kids do? What's an area of opportunity? Because they're so worried about AI taking over jobs, and is there something out there that would be more secure? And a lot of those areas you just named are areas that would be far more secure, where there are lots of opportunities right now.
And that's where our relationship with Nashville is so critical, because anyone familiar with Trevecca knows we've got a very deep history with preparing teachers and vocational ministers and missionaries and so forth. We also have a very strong business school. You mentioned all of these expansions.
I'm very familiar with the business school. I love hanging out with those people.
You're one of our treasured alumni.
I love those people.
On a couple of fronts there. But the thing is, one of the things that we take very seriously as part of our mission is making sure we are in tune with the community that we call home, and that we are preparing professionals for what this community needs. And so again, when you think about the need for medical professionals and nurses and so forth, that we're responding to that through the expansion of our health sciences program. So we can not only give healthcare the professionals that they need, but so many of these alumni are either calling Nashville home and will continue to do so, or will make this their home. So we're bringing families here. We're contributing to the local economy in addition to the impact that we're making for healthcare organizations. So we take very seriously, and we're really gratified with the relationship that we've got with the business community as well as the healthcare industry here.
So let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that Trevecca is facing as we hit this milestone, some of the things that are happening. But their challenges are always another side. When you have a challenge, there's always an opportunity.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk a little bit about that right after this, and some of the opportunities for you out there in the public, and the things you might want to know, because this is, my normal talking points are, how do we do with what we have accumulated, for the future? How do we get to the point where we're making money to actually get to the point where we can save for the future? And income and career are a big part of that, and that is why universities exist. A lot of times we've been given a bad rap in the university community because it's overpriced, but that's just not the case at Trevecca, as we made that point. And I want to talk a little bit more about that right after this. You're listening to Value Added, the Trevecca Show. I'm Paul Winkler. He's Troy Munn. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back here on the Trevecca Value Added Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I am Paul Winkler, here with Troy Munn, and we are talking about, we got the 125th year anniversary of Trevecca. Had these humble beginnings, this little tiny college that is a huge deal in Nashville now. It's like right in the middle of everything in Nashville. The location is interesting because you just see all kinds of culture around here. And you have people from everywhere, and the campus is I love the campus. I mean, you walk around, you have these trees of every type of tree that you can imagine. Walk on the campus sometimes, folks. It's really, really cool. You literally have everything out there, and they all have little labels. and I read it, and I always get a kick out of running around campus, and it's gorgeous in the fall, especially because all the leaves start turning and all of that. So I can't wait for that. Yeah. That's going to be really, really fun.
And don't forget, we have a farm on campus. So a lot of people don't realize here we are in the heart of Nashville, right outside downtown. We've got a sustainable farm with goats and chickens and all kinds of.
Oh, it is cool. I love that. Yeah, and people vie for trying to get the jellies and all that kind of stuff. They stand in line for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I have sent a few people over for that farm, seriously, where people I know are really into sustainable living. How do we take with what we got and be responsible with it? And they have a really, really cool setup over there. So I enjoy that place over there as well. Okay, so talk a little bit about, Troy, the impact of Trevecca in the community, and how does it continue to affect the community today? What the integration between these two things? What's going on there?
So, in the early 20th century, in Trevecca's beginnings, we started off as a Bible college, and we began over in East Nashville. And we don't have time to rehash the history here, but over the course of, in particular, the first 75 to 100 years of the university, we were in East Nashville. We actually provided education for a little while out of the Ryman Auditorium. We at one point
it's kind of a wild history.
We were in a hospital, an old Civil War hospital here. And if you're familiar with Ruskin Cave, we actually for a little while were doing our thing out of Ruskin Cave, and so we've got
what is that? I've got to know.
It's a cave on the outskirts of town.
A cave, literally a cave.
It's a cave. I have never been there. A lot of people in the community would be familiar with it. I think it's used a lot.
Yeah, I didn't grow up here, so this is. But I've been here longer than I was where I grew up, so that's funny. I had not heard of that.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And so we. There was even a time during Trevecca's early history when we were literally 7 cents away from not existing. And there was the potential of looking at moving the campus to Kentucky. The president at the time, Dr. Mackey, went to Kentucky to kind of survey a site, and we ended up obviously not going, but we've more firmly planted our roots here in Nashville. And what's happened over that time, Paul, is really, rather than Nashville being just the location of where this college is, we've really grown into being part of the fabric of the community. And even when you look today at the location of campus, we're in a very non-traditional or not very a neighborhood that most people would think about a university existing. And that's intentional at a great level because we're here for everybody. We want to be a good neighbor here on Murfreesboro Road and across Nashville. And so, and we were just talking a little bit earlier about how we grew from being a Bible college and educating teachers, which we still provide those programs, to now being a strong partner in providing leaders in business and also the aforementioned healthcare industry here.
Sure, you bring business people in from all over the place for these luncheons, and those we'll be talking about in coming weeks. That is it's kind of cool how you bring the whole community together, and that's I think that's important, Troy, just simply because you go to university for what reason? To get education. For what reason? To get a career. And if you have a university that's getting connected to the business community, it is a lot easier to make that leap from one to the other. So I think that is a big deal what you're doing there. And then of course, the different areas that we're getting into here are areas that are huge in Nashville in general. We're talking about the healthcare industry. You have, the business part of the university. You have, the AI is actually a big focus on the campus now. That's going to be an area because, hey, you know what? People may be scared of it, but the reality of it is the person that's going to have the job in the future is the one who knows how to use it.
Absolutely.
So that's a big deal. So Trevecca really getting involved in the community. What more? What else in that particular area comes to mind?
We are actually in our dedication to this community, we're always looking to do more. We're not resting on the level of connection that we have with the community. So we are right now strategizing some ways to position our next president to be that much more engaged with the community. Right now, so many of our students, the vast majority of our students, actually are within about 150 miles of campus. So while we've got plenty of students that are coming from all over the southeastern U.S. and beyond, we are really providing a great deal of education and equipping for folks right here in Middle Tennessee and who are staying in Middle Tennessee as well. And so we are always looking at not even just with healthcare, but what are some other burgeoning industries here where maybe we can create or tailor new academic programs so that not only will the community give us students, but in turn we can take educated and equipped professionals from here to give back to the community. So it really is, maybe for lack of a better word, it's kind of a symbiotic existence. Right. But the community is here for us, and we're here to give the community what it needs so we can create a greater quality of life here, right here in Middle Tennessee.
And you may be wondering, how on earth are they 150 miles? It is because the online type of programs that are being developed here and the technology that has gone into that. And literally the university was a pioneer. When I was doing my master's program here, we got a good taste of that technology and how it could work in the classroom, because we had to do that during the COVID era. When everything was shut down, we had to be online and make that work. And they have been making it work, and they've been doing a great job. And that's what helped keep the costs down as well. That's a big deal right there. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back right after this. You're listening to Trevecca Value Added, where we talk about what is going on at our local universities and what's going on in our community, what's going on in our business world around Nashville. And we'll be right back with Troy Munn after this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, we're back. I'm Paul Winkler. This is Trevecca Value Added, and I am here with Troy Munn from over at Trevecca Nazarene University. He's the new guy in town. Yes, you heard me say that. He is the new guy in town, and it's been a pleasure getting to know him over the past, well, not quite a year yet. I guess it's somewhere in that neighborhood. And because, I'm sure you have been learning a boatload since you've gotten on campus and started working here about the trials and travails of the universities, not just Trevecca, but every university. Some of the things going on in that particular area have been eye-opening for me. I'm sure for you. Tell me about your experience with that.
So while I have worked in higher education for a number of years, I've been in healthcare the last 12 years or so before I moved into this role. And so I lost touch a little bit with how education's delivered and the impact of technology. And we were talking a little bit ago about AI and so forth. So I coming into this role, I had to kind of kick some rust off and get a little bit more into the 21st century with my understanding of higher education. And there have been several things that have been really surprising to me. And one of those has been Trevecca's got its challenges. Some of those challenges, however, are not unique to Trevecca.
Right.
They are they hit the small private liberal arts college like us. They hit the big state universities.
I've been hearing it everywhere. Because
well,
you've got this big demographic shift. I mean,
demographic shift.
Yeah.
I had never thought about this until I came into this position last year. That back in 08 and 09, when we were dealing with some tough stuff with our 401ks and everything,
right?
Families were not expanding, and so that pool of the traditional, reaching out to young people when they're 16 and 17, trying to attract them to come to your institution, that pool is not there. And so
it used to be, just to throw this number at you, Troy, it used to be something like 100 people that were actually working for every one person on Social Security. Now it's like 2.7 for every one person on Social Security. So the aging of the population, and like you said, they're not having as many kids, and then you don't have the population that needs to go to school because they're aging. And so it's creating, I'm sure, a lot of problems. And I've heard that it has been creating a lot of problems for the universities.
Yeah, it makes the competition for the students that much fiercer, because it's not just we're going up against other private schools. We're going up against University of Tennessee and you name any university.
Right.
So and what that's also requiring, Paul, is something that academia is not accustomed to, and that is operating a little more nimbly.
Yes.
And maybe a little bit more entrepreneurially, and thinking about alternative ways to generate revenue resources for your institution to thrive beyond just what you're getting from tuition and fees with students. So things like partnerships with businesses. Again, I'm in the philanthropy realm.
Which is really cool. You think about it, what you're doing is very other-centered. You're thinking from the position of the student in order to benefit the university, because the student wants that relationship, that you have that relationship so that they can get internships, that they can get into some of these places and work around town. So it actually works really, really well. And what it does is it teaches the students how to be other-centered and think outside of me, and thinking about themselves. So I think that's a big deal, not to be overlooked.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And, you just hit on something that is actually a part of Trevecca's mission statement, and that is preparing servant leaders. And a lot of universities really focus on that leader part, and that's really important. But that leadership also, in the context of who we are as a Christian university, is really focusing on others. And so it's equipping, whether you're going to be a teacher or whether you're going to be a physician assistant, whatever you're going to be doing once you leave this campus or once you get offline from our online programs, is being able to not only lead within a particular industry, but also doing so with empathy, thinking outside of yourself, thinking more in a centered fashion on your customer or your constituents. And so we take very seriously this idea or this concept of servant leadership.
Yeah, and I've also found, I was just thinking as you were talking about that, about my experience as an undergraduate at another university. And it was economics. It was a huge place, and I felt like just a number at that place. And one of the things I've noticed around here is that the teachers knew you. They knew your name not only, but they remember you years later. I mean, I come into some of these, hey, Paul, how you doing? And it is really kind of cool to have that type of relationship. And they really care. Where are you? I had one the other day. Says, oh, are you over at, and he names, and I said, how do you remember that? I thought that is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's part of the core of who we are. There's always when you're having some of the financial headwinds and so forth that we and every college and university has to address today. When you start thinking about what if you to save some money, what if you cut back in this program or that program or whatever? And the reality is, despite any headwinds that we deal with culturally, financially, governmentally, we're not looking at a place of getting rid of things.
Right.
We're looking to add things because...
But economically, though. You know what I mean? And, one of the things that we've been doing here that I've seen here is that you're adding programs and you're doing it in an economic way, because one of the big complaints that people have about the universities is that it costs a mint to go. Why does it cost a mint for most places? Because waste.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've been seeing.
Yes. In those situations, you're always potentially looking at things you can eliminate, how do you mitigate waste and so forth. But we are so dedicated to our identity as a Christian liberal arts institution, to forming the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. And the fact that we want to equip people to be leaders in whatever industry they're going into, but that we're really forming people who are honest and ethical and thinking beyond themselves.
Yeah, you don't want to cut that part of the curriculum.
No.
Because as a business owner, I'm going to just tell you, when I'm looking to hire somebody and bring somebody on, that is first and foremost in my mind. I always tell my employees, quit thinking about yourself. Think about the other person, because as Zig Ziglar used to say, you get anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. You've got to be thinking of that.
That's good. Yeah.
And the other thing is related to that, as a business owner, I think about when I bring somebody on, I don't want them sitting there worrying about their finances. I don't want them sitting there worrying about things that will actually kill them thinking about what we've got to be doing. And that's another part of your program, your curriculum, is that you teach personal finance. Because let's face it, nobody remembers what they learned about personal finance when they were in high school. It's got to be taught closer to when you're actually out there in the real world.
That's right.
So that's part of what you're talking about expanding. And you're also expanding into areas, I think, that are helpful to the university, but helpful to the community. Again, other-centered, the healthcare area that Trevecca has been expanding into has been really great for both the community and the university, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back right after this. You're listening to Trevecca Value Added, and we are talking about the university in the heart of Nashville and how things are changing around here. I want to talk about the changes that might be coming down the road, some of the things that you want to see happening, and how people might get involved, because let's face it, we want the world to be a better place. And a lot of times people, I guess I'm going to get on a soapbox for just a real quick second. We sit here and go, oh man, I just complain about this. This is terrible. I hate the way this is. And I wish things were different. But often we forget that maybe we can be part of the change that we want to see.
True.
So let's just talk about that right after this. Troy Munn here from Trevecca, Nashville, Nazarene University right here in the heart of Nashville. We'll be right back after this on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, we are back here. This is Trevecca Value Added, program about the world of education and also what is going on in Nashville with a favorite university of mine, Trevecca Nazarene University right here in the heart of Nashville. It's so funny. Why do I want to say Trevecca, Nashville? I don't know why that is.
The Nazarene, Nashville.
That is Nashville and
Yeah.
Nazarene, Nashville. There we go. Well, somehow we're going to get this figured out, right? As we do the show for a longer period of time. So what I want to do in this segment is to talk a little bit about the future. I think the future is bright. There are a lot of things happening right now. The world of education is changing in that it is always something that you did face-to-face in the classroom. And so often now what we're seeing is that the classroom is remote. Where people are able to do things from their home, the comfort of their home. It saves a lot of time in travel. It saves a lot of time in having to live someplace on campus and the expense of living on campus. It's allowing people to continue their full-time work and then take classes later on in the evening to better themselves, which I think is a huge deal. What are some of the areas or the new programs that are coming on that people are able to do that?
Yeah. this gets back to what we talked a little bit earlier about in the changes in education, that the delivery of it is so 21st century, and
and the cameras in the ceiling, and the audio in there, and the teacher speaking, and then they have their PowerPoints or their presentation programs. I can sit there and watch their presentation.
Yeah.
And we're all familiar with Zoom, but this goes way beyond Zoom. Is what I've seen.
Yeah. The key for us, Paul, is making sure that we are both anticipating and responding to the industry needs of our community and beyond. So we've got some new things going on in our nursing program to go from RN to BSN. And that's such a wonderful asset for so many of our healthcare systems around the area. This January, we're beginning a new master's program in social work. In 2029, we're beginning a brand new doctoral program in physical therapy. We're continuing to respond to the need for us to provide healthcare workers, to provide a really robust healthcare to our community. So
right, and
as really good stuff
as the population ages, that's going to be a big deal. And of course, we've talked a lot about philanthropy, and coming from a financial planning perspective, one of the things I think a lot of people, especially if you're an empty nester, you're somebody that's an empty nester, you're trying to look at ways to change your community and change your world. Giving is a great way of doing it. But a lot of people don't think about that. What's been happening recently with tax law changes is that when we're dealing with assets that people have, a lot of this stuff ends up going to the federal government because of the way taxation actually takes place. And I've had people where, for example, and I'm not a big fan of annuities. If anybody knows me and knows my radio show knows that I'm not a big fan of that. But I see people with lots of pent-up gains in these things. And most of the money ends up going to the government because of the way they're taxed, but you can actually donate this type of stuff to a university that you believe in or a philanthropic organization that you believe in and avoid all of that taxation. Actually have the money go to where you want it to go to. The 10-year rule with IRAs, you have to have it all distributed in a 10-year period. That's a big deal. So let's say that there are certain areas, that certain groups of people that you would just want to help. I just want to help this group of people because I believe that, it's something that I'm here for. Yeah. You're able to choose who you donate to. Yeah. The athletic programs over at Trevecca. Now, I understand that our football team is still undefeated, right?
We are thankfully we're undefeated. Unfortunately, we are still winless. So.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So there are all kinds of programs there. And, they do have an athletic program. And it's pretty, from what I've noticed, I've met some of the people in the program, some of the coaches, and they're building up the kids.
Yeah. One of the things is really special that has traditionally gone on in our athletics program, and with some of these some wonderful new success in some areas like basketball and baseball and softball and so forth, is we've always been committed to not just athletes but the student athlete. It goes back to that holistic.
I was just going to say it goes back to the holistic thing we were talking about.
And what I love seeing at Trevecca is seeing growth in programs, which obviously means you've got winning traditions that are beginning, but also that you can attain that kind of athletic success without compromising the continued character development in the student athlete, as well as maintaining the proper focus on their education. Mark Elliott, our athletic director, who just announced he's retiring at the end of the year. He's a wonderful man, a wonderful leader. One of the hallmarks of his leadership is he's not primarily devoted to building winning traditions in athletics. It's making winners out of our student athletes, which will ultimately lead to success. But it's being focused not on a sport or two, but really on those wonderful souls who are called Trevecca students, who are also performing on the field and on the court.
So at the Board of Trustees meeting one day, we actually get sent out on a field trip. And it was to meet with we were all sent out to different places. I was sent out to the baseball field.
Okay.
Baseball diamond, right? So I meet the coach there. And then we're supposed to also talk to the students there. And then we're supposed to report back. And my comment when I got back in that meeting is that, Dr. Boone, you set us up. You set us up. You knew what we would learn about the teachers, what we would learn about the students, and what we would learn about the players. You knew what we would learn when we were out there. And he's just kind of laughing. Yeah, that's exactly right.
He knew what he was doing.
And then and the other thing we talk about that, Trevecca being in the top universities in the Wall Street Journal. I got to tell you a quick story. So I had a situation where I had to go to the doctor. I went to my doctor. And, it's not a major deal, not a major thing, but he's looking, I don't know, we're going to have to do this test. We're going to have to do that test. We're going to have to try this, Paul. We're going to have to do, and he's giving me this long laundry list. And it's 45 minutes to an hour to get to my doc, right? And I go, oh, man. So the next day I just decided I was going to go to one of these little clinics, these little minute clinics type thing. I'm just going to go. I don't know what they can do, but if there's anything they can do, it'd be great. So this young lady comes in, and she sits down, and she starts asking me questions. 5 minutes, I kid you not, Troy. 5 minutes later, she's going, oh, this is what we're dealing with. Oh, you just need this little prescription here. That's all it is. I said, where did you go to school? And she said, I was Trevecca. And I said, what program with you? I was in the PA program. And I laughed, and I says, yeah, okay, 100% pass rate in the PA program. You got some quality students in that.
Well, and I neglected to mention earlier, we're focused a lot on the 125th. This is the 50th year of our PA program.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know
50
that.
years.
I did not know that. That is, I knew that the nursing program was newer. I didn't know anything about that. An area of huge growth, an area of huge opportunity for students, for people that are wanting to have changes in their career or look at setting up a career and getting into something that is in huge demand right now. So I think that's a big deal. So this has been exciting. Troy Munn, Trevecca Nazarene University. This has been, this has been a fun show for me. Really enjoyed having you here. Thanks, man.
Thank you for having me. It's my privilege, and again, it's being new here has been so good, and I've so much appreciated you as a leader here as well.
Thanks a lot. Folks, catch you next week right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.